you get the second pick, so you could take any other quarterback in the AFC North at number 2. Who you got?
If he plays, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. We'll see.
Okay, all right, bring this, because I disagree, but let's hear the case.
Deshaun Watson was a couple of passes away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't name other than DeAndre or Fuller, Hopkins. You can't name a tight end Deshaun Watson was throwing to. You can name me 3 running backs Deshaun Watson.
I've got him in my notes, I got him in my notes, but here's who we're talking about.
Off the top of the head.
Correct.
This is what you can say. If Deshaun Watson was on the New England Patriots, if Deshaun Watson was on the Kansas City Chiefs, if Deshaun Watson was on the Green Bay Packers, if Deshaun Watson was on the Tampa Bay Bucks, we all know what time it is. So the guy you're about to name, I'm talking about as a complete quarterback. If you can't say if he was on, then that's how I look at it. Now look at Deshaun Watson. Never had a 1-2 combo like this as a running game. Never had an offensive line like this in the running game. Never really had, other than DeAndre Hopkins at the receiver position, complete receiver position that like he do in Cleveland. Never had a defense like he had in Houston, like he about to have at Cleveland. So when I look at Deshaun Watson and what he brings to the table, it's the same thing we were talking about when we came to Mitchell Trubisky for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mitch Trubisky never had the luxury that he will have now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deshaun Watson never had the luxury he will have now as a Cleveland Brown.
Yes, you mentioned DeAndre Hopkins. Will Fuller when healthy? And that's kind of an oxymoron. That's no knock on Fuller, but go check the stats there. He hasn't been able to consistently play in a 16 or 17 game season. Now, you mentioned the running backs. David Johnson, who was the team's leading rusher in 2020, is a free agent, so he's not even on a team. Then you had Carlos Hyde in 2019, had more than 1,000 yards rushing, and then Lamar Miller in 2017 and 2018, Ike. So I'm with you there in terms of the skill position players around Watson in Houston when he won a playoff game and nearly beat the Chiefs when the Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl. Remember, they had that 24-0 lead against Kansas City, and Kansas City came roaring back because Houston wanted to play. They wanted to match Patrick Mahomes. Not a very good idea. Now, I'm going to say this about Watson. A, when is he going to be allowed to play, which we still don't know. But then B, once he is allowed to return to the playing field, missing a full NFL season, like I wonder if there's going to be any rust there to where you can't replicate NFL game speed, Ike. So that's where I pause there, and we can transition into the conversation about Lamar Jackson if you'd like, but you're shaking your head here. I'll give you the chance to rebut, and we'll go on to Jackson, Ike. I'm gonna give you the floor here. I'm being a gentleman about this right now.
There's no need for Deshaun Watson to be the Houston Deshaun Watson when he comes back ASAP, because the luxury he have around him. Now, if Deshaun Watson would have came back to Houston, Deshaun Watson, I would understand what you would have been saying. Let's see what this year off what Deshaun Watson do. But the fact Deshaun Watson don't need to be the Houston Deshaun Watson until he gets in a groove says a lot about Deshaun Watson. And that's what I'm talking about, the luxury that he have around him. He has a complete good team, Mark.
Yeah, and he does have Amari Cooper coming over from the Dallas Cowboys. David Njoku still at the tight end position there too. And then we know about the two beasts in the backfield. And then up front, Wyatt Teller, who I think is one of the nastiest offensive linemen in the league, Jack Conklin, an all-pro at the right tackle position as well. So I hear your argument, Ike. But at number 3, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson because the former league MVP at 25 years old is in a contract season. He's going to ball out, and he's going to want a similar deal as what Josh Allen got from the Buffalo Bills. What am I talking about? $43 million on average per season through the 2028 season. That is what Jackson is going to try to get. Now, do I think he's going to get as high a figure as Josh Allen? No, probably not. But I think he's going to try to get something in the same ballpark. He's going to want to come back with a vengeance and prove that when the Ravens lost their final 6 games of the 2021 season, part of the reason was due to injuries, not just to Jackson, but his other players. Jackson missed the final 4 of those games, so he wasn't healthy, and you're getting back a solid running game. J.K. Dobbins is going to be back. Gus Edwards is going to be back. the guy on the offensive line, Ronnie Stanley, the offensive tackle. You've got the cornerbacks coming back from season-ending injuries. The Ravens are my pick in the AFC North to win the division in the 2022 season, Ike. So you take Jackson at 3. I would have taken him at 2. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm taking Jackson at 3. And the reason why I'm taking Jackson at 3, I've seen everything I needed to see about Lamar Jackson. Now, when it comes down to being a Madden player, I'm going to play with the Baltimore Ravens all day on John Madden. When it comes down to the skill set, when it comes down to these sports show highlights, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson all day. But by the end of the day, man, we all know the Baltimore Ravens ain't the Baltimore Ravens right now unless you have Lamar Jackson on the field. The problem is he got to get over that playoff hump. So to see with a depleted Cincinnati Bengals line and see what Joe Burrow does with his receivers and see him get to the Super Bowl, that's why I got him at 3, because he came behind Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson already had a year in front of him. So Lamar's problem or issue, 1, Lamar has to stay healthy. 1, he got to stay healthy. 2, he got to translate his game. So he has to think more pass on the run, then I'll look to pass. And this year time will tell.
I want to give our listeners and viewers one bit of advice. Draft Rashad Bateman in fantasy football. He's a cold weather receiver out of Minnesota. And then, yes, Jackson still have Mark Andrews, but remember, Hollywood Brown's no longer in town. He got traded away. So Jackson's going to have to throw the ball to somebody. I like Rashad Bateman in fantasy football this season, but I just think that contract season, he's going to want to get the bag and prove, hey, here's why I'm the former league MVP, and this is why you got to fork over the big bucks to pay me to continue to play quarterback in Baltimore, because if not the Ravens, someone else is going to offer him that money, Ike.
Statistically, Mark, he's gonna get him. He's going to do him. But we talking about as a whole, as a team, can Lamar get over that playoff hump when it comes down to these teams in the playoffs are not letting you run the ball. You have to sit in the pocket and throw the ball. But stats-wise, regular season, he going to go for 2,800 passing. He might go for 1,000, 1,200 rushing. So he going to get that just off of GP. It's just the playoff Lamar Jackson that we need to see.
Yes, 30-8 as a starter in the regular season. And in the regular season, a 69-18 touchdown to interception ratio. 1-3 in the playoffs, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, Ike. So you're not wrong when it comes to Jackson's playoff performance at the quarterback position.